Welcome to Get Savvy, the podcast for people who want to claim their time back through the power of delegation, streamlining, and productivity. I'm your host, Tisha, today here again with my co-host, Joe, and we're actually here today to talk about the $1 million business that Joe has built that actually runs without her. So, Joe, how did you do it?
Well,
Tell us all your secrets.
a lot of time and effort. But there's some really key things that we did at Strictly Savvy to get it to the point now where it is that we want to go through in this podcast. Because it's one step at a time. That's probably like the overarching thing. It's not like an overnight thing that just happens. You just suddenly have this $1 million business that runs without me. It's a one step at a time. It took 10 years to get to that point. But there's some really kind of key things that if that's something that you want to do, have a business that runs without you, that we're going to go through.
And it is something that every business owner can do. And that is the whole point of these podcast episodes, is showing you that you can do it yourself as well.
Yes. You don't have to be the one that does all the things. There are other people that can help you. And that's a kind of key part of how Strictly Savvy now runs without me as the business owner working day to day. So I really did. I fired myself. I figured out a way of how can I not be working in the business and have a job there? And how can we have other people running it? You, Tisha, as the GM, run Strictly Savvy. And that just doesn't happen by hiring a bunch of people and saying, there you go, you can now run the business. There's this kind of real key thing that if this is what you want to do, you've got to start working on immediately, like today. And that is to systemize the entire business.
Yep, absolutely. Would you say
it sounds super boring, but it's what works?
Yeah, I was going to say, would you say that it's the main key to success with this?
Yes, to getting a business that runs without you. Because without having everything systemized, team members will end up kind of just making things up. It'll be chaos.
No direction.
There will just be so many questions still for you as the business owner.
Yeah.
And you'll still be in there. You'll still be working in the business, dealing with problems, and mistakes will happen, and you won't be able to scale at a good pace and sustainably without systemizing everything.
Yeah. Sort of falls back to a little bit about what we talked about in the last episode with when you're repeating yourself. That's the kind of stuff that should be documented and systemized so that you aren't repeating yourself. That's just wasting your time, really.
Absolutely, it is. So, this is a really big topic. We'll try and break it down as simple as we can so that you've got some things that you could actually work on today to start implementing and getting this kind of stuff in place.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how we've systemized the whole business, because you're a key part of that, Tisha. How do we do that? What does systemizing the business actually look like?
Yeah, well, I guess as you say, it's a really, really big topic in itself. So systemizing, we have really just tried to streamline every single aspect of every process at Strictly Savvy. And that is right from, when a client is looking at our website and actually just starting to think about using us as a supplier to their business. If they're downloading one of our lead magnets, they automatically go into a pipeline from that point onwards. We have a CRM HubSpot that we use for our sales and leads. And as soon as they download that lead magnet or subscribe to our newsletter, then they automatically go in there and that pipeline starts. They start getting, those automated messages from us, sort of checking in with them, saying hello, starting to get them curious about the things that a virtual assistant can do for them. And it kind of flags that user to our account manager, client success manager, sorry, to interact with that lead, especially if they are inquiring about prices. That's another one of our sort of not quite a lead magnet, but one of our resources on the website. And so from there, we have just this huge database of all of our leads, all of our clients sitting in there as well. Um, so once the client is actually inquiring and booking a sales call, that's all managed in there as well. Once they've had that discovery call, then the process about where that client is in the pipeline, that's all tracked in there. All of the different correspondence through email, again, is all tracked in there.
And templated too, right? So
Yes.
Jamie, our sales person, so we called the client success manager, she's not making everything up every time there's a new
Yes, that's a
inquiry.
really important
She's
part to it.
got templates that she uses. She might tweak it a little bit to make it personalized,
Yeah.
obviously. But she's not making up everything as she goes along. And she's got the process in the system tracked every step of the way,
Yeah.
which then also means that that potential client is having a really good experience with us because everything
Mhm.
feels streamlined and responsive and
Mhm.
they're getting the information that they need and helping them see what the next step is. So
Yeah.
what's after that?
There's there's prompts at our end as well, like you say, to help streamline that. So, um, once they're sort of signed up and we've onboarded them, like you say, we've got all of our templated things within HubSpot. But as soon as they actually sign up to be a client, then we have a project management tool called Teamwork that we use, and we have, I think it's around maybe up near 100 actually templated
Mhm.
task lists that we have in there for different processes. And as soon as that client signs up, we add a templated task list dependent on the service that they are starting on. So if they're engaging as a service plan client, we start the new service plan client templated task list that automatically assigns all of the tasks associated with that, from the account setup to the virtual assistant themselves that's going to be looking after that client, the tasks that they need to start doing, the account manager tasks, yeah, anything to do with that client. All of those tasks get automatically generated, assigned to the appropriate team member, and they all have due dates with them as well. So it's a click of about 2 buttons for us rather than setting up, 150 tasks for that onboarding for that client.
Mm. Yeah. And so by having those things streamlined, team members feel really confident in the role that they're playing. They have the answers that they need. They don't have to make it up on the
Mm.
spot. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. And
Yeah.
so that gives me the confidence to be able to step out of the business because they've got all of the tools there. They know what they need to do and they're following the processes and
Mhm.
able to have that kind of headspace and really looking after our new client and nurturing them and making sure that we're doing a really good job. So, um, yeah, we could go through every kind of step in this whole process, but let's talk about some other tools that we use as well, because this
Mhm.
whole streamlining and systemizing is super important that you use really great tools because there are incredible tools out there purpose built for a specific system inside your business. One of them that comes to mind is is Harvest, which is our
Yeah.
time tracking.
Yeah, absolutely. Harvest is an amazing tool. And yeah, we have every single client set up in Harvest, and our team track every minute of their day to the different clients that they're doing work for. So that we're really, really transparent about the time spent on those tasks for those clients, and they get those timesheets at the end of the month when we're doing the invoicing. Um, so it's something that's a little bit of a weird adjustment for new team members coming on board, but something that really benefits us being able to track productivity of our team members. We can actually look in there, see how billable they are, which means we can see how full they actually are if they need more clients. If they are starting to get too full, then we need to look at recruiting, all of that kind of stuff, all of those reporting analytics,
Mm.
um, kind of metrics that we're seeing in Harvest as well, rather than just the time tracking itself.
Mm. And that helps you, right? Because then you can make decisions as the GM on what
Mm.
needs to happen in the business and what needs to change
Yeah,
without having to, come to me and be like, oh, do you think we need like to hire a new person? You can like
make
you're
that decision.
empowered to make those decisions yourself and say, hey, Joe, we need to recruit. This is what I'm seeing. This is what
Mhm.
it looks like inside our harvest. I've had a chat to the team member. So you're empowered to be able to make those decisions without needing me to be in the
Mm.
business working alongside you. So for everyone listening, have a think about in your business, have you got your whole process from the moment that a lead comes across your business online all the way through to delivering the service and doing the account management, making sure they're happy?
Mm.
Have you got that system streamlined? Are the gaps plugged? Are the templates created? Are
Mhm.
the task lists set up? Are the tools implemented? Like that's
And
the important part.
with those templated task lists or, yeah, just any kind of templates you have, it's always going to be faster to have more than what you need than making it up from scratch. So even if you
Mm,
have more tasks in there and you need to delete a couple of them for that particular client that comes on, that's still going to be faster than adding 148 tasks instead of the 150. So,
mm.
like, yeah, it's always worth it to
Yeah.
template
We've
stuff.
definitely over templated everything so that, yeah, like you say, you can remove parts of it if you don't need it, but at
Mhm.
least you've got it all there for when you do need it. Like even the proposal. So have you got your proposals templated? How long
Mm.
does it take for you to have we're talking about service-based businesses here. So how long does it take for you to have that kind of inquiry from the client, from a potential client, speak to
Mm.
them, and then deliver them a proposal and a contract? If
Mhm.
that's delayed, like
Yeah.
that's not going to be a great experience for that client. So yeah, positioning yourself as like, hey, we've got this really under control, sorted,
Mm.
streamlined in the background, presents a really great experience for your clients.
Yeah. And that is a risk with a lot of businesses that they take too long to get back to people with proposals and quotes.
Mm.
You see that quite a lot that people lose business over that.
Yeah, exactly. So if that's kind of gives you a bit of an insight into one of the particular kind of major systems that we have inside Strictly Savvy, and a really key one to how the business now runs without me. Um, the other thing that I had to really get through is to, and this is often hard for business owners, is to really put your ego aside and realize that other people can actually do the things that you do and do a way better job. So, as business owners, we become the bottleneck in our business if we hang on to too many
Mm.
responsibilities and too many tasks and too many ongoing kind of things that we do.
Mhm. It's quite confronting really, isn't it?
It is. Like, I now admit to myself that our client success manager is a way better salesperson than I ever was. And you, Tisha, as GM, are a way better leader than I ever was in terms of bringing the team together and building that fun and that culture that we have. Like, you do a way better job than me. And um, our administrator does a way better job of keeping a track of all of the processes and all of the what we need to invoice and what all the agreements are with everyone and keeping control of all of
Mm.
that. I would never be able to do that. And so admitting to myself that there are people in the business who are way better than me at all of the different roles is a big kind of step that I had to take to try and get over myself, and what I think that I do a really good job actually might not be true.
Mhm.
And every time that something came across my desk as I was building it up to this point was, how can I not do
Yes.
this?
Yeah. And From my point of view, you have always been really great at that. Has that actually always been the story for you?
You're great at what? At delegating or not doing
Yeah,
things?
yeah,
No, because I had to get past that, like we talked in the previous episode, I had to get past that thinking that it's just easier if I do it myself.
yeah.
Getting past that and then realizing, no, I can actually put the time into getting someone else to do this, training them, giving the tools that they need, giving them the time that they need so they can do a good job.
Mhm.
That does take a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
But delegating. My favorite topic ever. How can you not do this? And actively every day figuring out how you can not do the things that are on your plate.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it does take time. It's
Yeah,
not an overnight thing.
yeah. What were the key sort of tasks that you started handing off that started freeing up that time for you?
Early on, accounts, all the accounts and admin. That
Mhm.
is the easiest thing for every business owner to hand over first
Mhm.
and to stop doing themselves.
Mhm.
There is no way you should be following up your debtors, sending out invoices, managing all your bills and receipts, reconciling your bank accounts. You just don't have to do any of that. Yes, you're going to have to be available to answer questions. Your accounts person that you have doing that is not going to know what you're spending the money on, or it's going to take some time for them to understand how
Yeah.
the business works and what's involved and what the spending is, who the clients are, how invoicing works.
Mhm.
But now I have zero involvement in the accounts processing.
Mhm. Yeah. And like you say, this is a process. It's taken, 10 years. May have started with accounts and then it's led through to the daily running
Everything.
of the business stuff that you have delegated to me essentially. So,
Mm,
yeah, it wasn't an overnight thing.
mm. And I think one thing too of like, if going back to the systemizing of everything and getting everything documented and all the processes and templates set up, there's a big job, and it's a very specific type of personality style that thrives in owning that systemizing kind of project for you, if you think about it like that.
Mhm.
Someone has to own it, because if everyone is meant to own it, no one will own
Yeah.
it and it will not get done. Someone has to champion that, and it needs to be the right personality style.
Mhm.
We love disc at Strictly Savvy, and there's a very particular personality on the disc profile that thrives in the documenting and processing. It's that kind of C personality style or CS personality style, and having that person in your um, accounts admin
Mm.
systemizing kind of role. So okay, that was the best decision I made early on, and we started systemizing over the 10
Mhm.
years to get it to the point where it is now.
Yeah. And that all just ties into what you said at the start. You can't just hire a bunch of people and expect it to just, you know, be fine and no
Magically be fine.
consequences. Yeah. But you actually have to hire great people into those roles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the other kind of factors, because, like, let's be honest, it's not just systemizing a business and delegating everything and, like,
Mhm.
getting the team together that actually builds a business that runs without you.
Mhm.
But there are other, like, key things that we won't go into, but we potentially will in future episodes. And one of them is goal setting. I
Mhm.
have set goals every single year and done my 90-day action planning for the whole 10 years. Because if you don't have
Impressive.
goals, you're just like meandering through, like kind of trying this, trying that, not really having any focus,
Yeah.
not having a plan. Like, you can't have focus and a plan without knowing what the goals are.
Mm. Yeah. Another key factor was probably the first day that you met me, knowing that I would be your future general manager.
That never happened. Hiring Teacher was the best decision I've made in the business so far, hands down. But I didn't know it when I hired you. Like, you have
Mm.
evolved immensely over the last 6 years, 7
Yeah.
years. But yeah, it's about like seeing great people and
The
helping
potential.
develop them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got the potential. I never thought that you would be GM hiring you. Sorry.
Fine. It's
That's
fine.
harsh, but true. But like empowering people and seeing
Mm.
the potential and giving people opportunities and, not business owners tend to do this really weird thing where they try and keep the team small and not small in size, but like keep team members like in their
Yeah.
box because
Yeah.
they have this kind of like, oh, I
Fear?
don't want everyone else to be better than me. And they
Yeah.
have this insecurity around like people doing a better job than
Mm.
them. But oh my God, that's the best thing that you could
Mm.
possibly do is
Yeah.
hire people that are better than you or have the potential to be better than you. It's so freeing. Like I get to spend my time doing whatever the hell I want now
Mhm.
because I have the team and the systems in place to be able to
Yeah.
run things.
Yeah. And it just helps you feel more confident about the people that are in your business as well. You know,
Hmm.
you wanna be able to trust them, so why wouldn't you want them to be, like you say, almost better than you at especially certain aspects of the business? It just makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a really big mindset thing as well, which, yeah, is quite, again, a confronting thing for business owners to have that switch of mindset as well. I think you've done a really, really good job of having that mindset. And we have so many models at Strictly Savvy, like the Orbed model that we use as well, that a lot of people haven't heard of.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
yeah.
The above and below the line behavior in the Orbed model is like if you haven't heard of that before, like go and look it up. There's lots of blog posts and examples and
Mm,
things online. You can go and learn about it. It's been a really key model that we've used in the business for a very long time.
yeah.
And it's about being above the line and taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility for every single thing that happens in your business.
Yeah.
As a business owner, there's this thing that you this is gonna sound really confronting and untrue. Um, every single problem in your business is because of you, the business owner. You have caused all of the problems, which is really, really hard to fathom. And it's all about taking ownership, accountability, and
Mm,
responsibility for your business and for everything that happens inside the business.
mhm,
A team member makes a mistake. Well, that's your fault. Did you train them properly? Did you give them the tools that they need? Do they have the processes, the templates? Did you hire the right person?
mm,
Have you empowered them? Have you
mm.
given them support?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
Confronting, but true.
just yeah, for me, watching you as a business owner actually being open to confront that kind of thing and even just being open to change is something that you don't see in a lot of business owners that are really just trying to hold on to that control so
Mhm.
much. But yeah, if you want the business to grow, that seems like it's just such a key thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Being open to change and that control. Yeah, I
Mm,
totally agree. You if you try and keep control of everything in your business, you're gonna get burnt out,
mm,
overwhelmed, you're not gonna grow, the team isn't gonna be, like, rallying behind you to support you and to build the business with you. Yeah, it's not a good place to be, and you're not gonna be able to hire a virtual assistant if you're not open to change
mm.
and you are not open to, letting go of some control.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're not monitoring things or keeping an eye on things. It's just that you need to let other people do their jobs and
Mhm.
do things for you and help you and
Yeah.
get them off the plate.
And trust those other people and trust that most people actually just want to do a good job.
They do.
It's very simple.
Yeah. Very, very simple. All right.
So, are there any other final notes or other factors that you can think of on top of those main ones? Obviously, you've said there are quite a few, but any other key ones that we've missed?
Yeah, I think if you're listening to this and you're thinking, "Oh yeah, that's all well for Joe, like, she did that. That I won't I'll never be able to do that." Remember that it doesn't happen overnight, and
Mhm,
it's something that if you start today putting things in place to streamline, systemize, and delegate over the next 10 years or
mhm,
over the next 5 years, you could get it to a point where I have it right now. Like, I didn't just wake up with the business like that. It's a bit of effort every day, ongoing, over time, that gets you to that point. So
mhm.
just remember that it is that journey. Hey, I was exactly where you are right now, starting a brand new business, growing it, and 10 years it took me to get to this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And we will be going a bit more in depth in some of these things as well over the next few episodes. So yeah, please don't think that this is it. But this is it for today's episode, and we really hope that you enjoyed it. So if you did, please don't forget to rate, to review, and subscribe to the Get Savvy podcast. And if you're not sure or want to find out a bit more about delegating, then please head over to our website. It's strickly savvy.co.nz.